So we are going to be recording this one to be able to share it with everyone else that's not here. So just be cautious of any choice language you might be using. So we're going to be reviewing the Network Central Recruiting. Myself, Sergeant French, and Sergeant Sulkers, were you a role player for this last year?
It's just people.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Were you a role player for the Network Central Recruiting last year?
I was not, no.
Okay. So so Sergeant French is going to have some of the latest and greatest tips on this since he was a victim of it. So, all right. So this is the rubric. So one of the things I always tell people to be cautious about is that, like Sergeant French pointed out, there's going to be a lot of distractors to this. You're going to be given a brief, and you're going to have to be cautious of the brief and what information you're looking at going to get. You're going to need to get 4 COI VIPs, and you're going to need to get all the information for that. And there are going to be people there that are going to want to eat up your time while you're in the COI VIP event. So, like always, you're going to have this rubric memorized. It's not a lot of stuff, but if you're getting distracted and getting taken away from what you're looking at getting, it can be you can miss some things that will take away from getting those 11 of 13 steps. So this is broken into 2 different parts. You'll have 30 minutes within the actual COI VIP event, and then 30 minutes to input the information into Recruiter Zone. And we're going to focus on more of the Recruiter Zone parts, but like Sergeant French said, you can actually get lost in the meet and greet section. So the way that it is broken down, and like I said, it's going to be different this year than when I went through it, because we have to consider COVID restrictions and being safe and keeping everyone safe. It's going to be in like a large open area, so we can kind of be safe. And it's going to be like a large, like a Rotary Club meeting or some type of event where you would go into network and get people's information and see what they can provide and what information that you can provide to them. And you need to determine who's going to be a community partner to gather their information that you're looking to build into Recruiter Zone. The first name, last name, what their COI VIP type is, organization, all this information that you're looking for, and then what next action needs to be put into there. So again, there's going to be a lot of people there. You're going to need to move around. Part of getting this information is going to be establishing that rapport too. So if you just walk up to someone and say, hey, give me your information, give me your business card, they aren't going to be receptive to that. You're going to have to actually, establish that rapport, be friendly, introduce yourself, say, hey, I'm Sergeant Perez. I'm here to, represent the Army, and this is what I do. This is, what I can bring to your organization, or what does your organization do, and how can I help you? And that's going to be actually part of establishing that rapport, so you can get their business card, their name, their phone number, and set up that next activity. Sergeant French, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, you did really good. Sounds like you hit everything.
Okay. Quick question.
Yeah.
I guess kind of pertain for everything and the whole process of the MB, the Master Recruiter test. But how much of it has to kind of do with charisma per se?
So charisma is not graded, but again, establishing rapport is. So, and that can be kind of a tricky topic. So you have to, be friendly. Again, if you walk up to someone and say, hey, give me your business card, they're not going to do that. you go up there and say, hey, you shake their hand, say, my name is Sergeant Perez. I'm here to introduce myself in the Army. You know, what's your name? What are you here to do? And just kind of do something to, bridge that introduction gap that will establish that rapport. If you're rude, and that's again a little subjective, they will not give you the information that you're looking for, and that's the guidance that they're given. But if you are, working at established, and they know that you're pressed for time, and they're told to, make it so that you have to be a little friendly, but charismatic is not. You don't have to, charm everyone, but you do have to somehow introduce yourself, and be providing the information of who you are, what you're there to represent, give an icebreaker, the same type of stuff that you're doing during that phone call to put that person at ease, or during the interview, the same type of icebreakers that you're using. They're not, again, assessing how well you do it, just that you do those steps. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
So knowing the steps and how well you do it are two different things that are evaluated. They're not looking at how well you're doing that, but as long as you are doing that, because they know that this is still even though they're trying to make it as real life as possible, they know that it's still a controlled, tested environment. So, does that answer the question that you're asking?
It does, yes.
Okay. So going into it, though, can be a little deceiving, because going into it, you'll get a brief from your station commander, right? You're going to be treated like a recruiter, and they're going to get a brief from the station commander, say, hey, Sergeant Perez, you need to go into the COI event. You need to set up an appointment to set up X amount of table setups. I'm sorry, does someone have a question or statement? No. But yeah, you're going to be asked to do so many things that are not going to be within the rubric, right? So you will maybe asked to do things like, get so many appointments from this, generate leads, set table setups. But remember, that's not where you're going to be graded upon. You're going to be graded on what's on this rubric. So, when you're getting your station commander brief, some of the things that I would do on your index card. So during your station commander brief, you're taking down notes. But what I'm doing during my station commander brief is I'm writing this down: first name, last name, CY VIP, organization, title, RSID, phone number, email address, action, result, next action. I'm trying to remember as much of this as I can. Hold on. I'm trying to write down as much as this as I can, so that when it comes to actually interviewing the CY's VIPs, that I'm getting the information that I need for this. I'm not really listening to what the station commander has to say, because that's not what I'm being evaluated upon for this event. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So, Sergeant French, do you remember what some of the information that the station commander was asking for from you for this event?
To be honest with you, I really didn't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Because you have the number of things you got to get for each person that you're putting into recruiter zone, and that's what you're being evaluated on. So
right. Yeah. So, you're going to go into this. The only thing they're going to let you bring in with you is going to be an index card, and that's where you're going to use to take down as much information as you can for each of the COIs. They should all the community partners should have business cards on them. So once you establish that rapport, you can ask them for it, If you don't establish that rapport, they will not give you the business card. They'll either say they don't have one or that they don't feel comfortable giving you their business card for some reason. So you do have to figure out a way to establish that before. Like I said, just introduce yourself, say you're there to represent the Army, and ask them what they do, and figure out how you can help them do what they do. That's all that for going into that. Now, as a station commander, you probably have a little more, you're a little more familiar with building a COI VIP than most people. Going from working at headquarters and being a guidance counselor, I didn't have a ton of practice building COIs and VIPs or community partners, but it's not the hardest type of person to build, but still to get the to get a go, it's can be tricky. Oh yeah, and if you're hold on, one more thing I wanted to go over. If you look in the rubric, there was a part of the rubric that said that there was a test for a phase 1 for the network-centric recruiting, and that has been taken out this year. So there will not be a written test for the network-centric recruiting. So they're not doing that this year. So if you're looking through the rubric and you see there's a phase 1, that has been actually taken out. So don't have to stress out about that either. But yeah, so when we come to building the lead for the community partner, again, station commander, you should be a little familiar with this, but if not, we're gonna go through it with you. My work zone, COI VIP. I've lost my mouse here. And then it'll take you to the screen. You're gonna click on the add new COI VIP. And it'll take you to the screen. Now, a lot of this will be self-correcting, right? It won't let you go on to the next screen unless you put in the information. But know that the graders are looking for certain things to be precise. So don't try fudging some stuff. If you miss the information from the community partner, you don't try just making it up because they will catch you. But don't leave it blank either. So some of the stuff they have written down as a grading point, but don't leave anything blank if you don't know it. I mean, it's kind of like one of those multiple choice tests. If you don't have the information, just put something in there. So fill it out and then hit go. Just make sure all the stuff is filled out so you have something in there. And then I'll lead you on to the next screen. And just my recommendation is just put something into every part so that they have something in everywhere. You need the street address, otherwise it will not let you go through. So make sure you have all the information there. Now, another thing that I tried getting clarification from with Sergeant Tenney, if you look through the regulations, knowing the difference between a COI VIP is tricky because the current regulations just say community partners are community partners. There is no clear delineation between a COI VIP, except for prior service can only be VIPs because they are prior service, and COIs can provide leads. But a lot of those regulations are outdated and cover community partners under everything. So, that's a sticky subject when you're looking at building the COI type. What do you think about that, Sergeant French?
Trying to think.
Yeah.
I don't think we ran into any that were prior service.
Yeah. So most of them will be COIs. Like I said, VIPs can prior service can only be VIPs, but the regulations for that are really outdated. And if someone gave you a hard time about the COI VIP type, I would definitely have grounds for a rebuttal there, because unless you're looking in UM-3 or what's
Wait,
another?
all right. So you said prior service cannot be a VIP COI?
No, prior service can only be a VIP.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Yeah. So unless they were a prior service, everyone else can be a COI because they're providing leads, unless they cannot, for some reason, legally provide a lead, they're going to be a COI.
So are you, I mean, I'm assuming, they let you off into this room where they have, random people, schools or whatever, right? So when you talk to a certain individual, then should you have a memorized checklist of stuff you had to ask them for?
Yeah. So again, that's
Yeah.
what you have to have this. You have to have this rubric memorized. This has to be the stuff that you're asking them. So, like I said, when you're getting your station commander brief before you go into the COI VIP event, you're gonna get a brief like this. It says, "I, Sergeant First Class John Hand, will be your evaluator for this event. You are attending a social event and need to meet 4 COI VIPs. Once you have gathered the information you need, you will input the information to iChrome. During this event, you will need to complete the person information tab in COI VIP section of Recruiter Zone, and you have 30 minutes to complete the task. All right, they'll also ask you a whole bunch of other stuff, but that's going to be the information the brief that you'll get before you start putting the information into the Recruiter Zone tab. But this is the only information that you will be graded on. So the things that you need to be asking them and take it down on your little index card going into the event needs to be this.
Okay, so that was my kind of sort of question. And okay, so I got to memorize this, so I don't have a way to write these down as I go and ask these people, the specific questions.
So what I do, so you need 4 of these, right? 4 community partners. So you have an index card you're allowed to bring in with you. When you're getting your station commander brief before you go into there, you write on the left side of the index card, first name, last name, organization, RSID, phone number, email address, action, result. The rest of the stuff kind of fills in itself. But you write down the left side of the index card, and then you just need to find 4 COIs or VIPs that fill out that information. You fill it in across the index card. Now, I went and bought the extra large jumbo index cards, the 5x8 index cards. That was fine. Don't bring in with you the small 3x5 index cards, because you will not be able to write down all that information. They didn't give you a hard time with what size index card you brought, right, Sergeant French?
No, no, they did not. I'm pretty sure we used big ones.
Yeah. So you want to bring those big index cards with you, because what you bring in with you is, what you're going to be bringing that information, writing that information on. So when we went through, I was the only one that really had those large index cards. I was sharing them with everyone, because that was just the way it was. I had them, I was sharing them, became very handy. So make sure you get those large index cards so you can write that down. Just write down first name, last name, organization, RSID, you don't need RSID, phone number, email address, and then action and result. So you can take down all the information, because that's what you're being graded on. And then you just need to make sure it gets all put in correctly here, because that's what they're going to be looking to check on the rubric. If you put in the correct information based off of what you got from the person. So there'll be the 4 COIs and VIPs or community partners that they are looking for. So they see, oh, you spoke to Timothy Bones, he's prior service, so he fills into that VIP category. So did they get the right email address, the right phone number, the right street address? Yep, he's good there. He got those correct. That's not graded. Next action date. So they might have a set action date that he's only available during this time. He's only available on 9 September to set up an office visit or for a telephone call. So that might be stuff that they're looking for. Make sure you put a remark in there because that is also graded. They probably don't have a specific thing they're looking in there, but something needs to be in there because that is graded. I have a note here that says do not set up as an event unless you build the event in your calendar. So don't put down like appointment initial because it can break the whole recruiter zone. So then you can go back in there and verify that you have all the information that you're looking for. Make sure the company is correct, media conglomerate or whatever, because that's part of what they're looking for. So organization, his title and role, city. These are all things that are part of the rubric that they are confirming.
Hey, Sarn, I'm not, I promise you, I'm not ignoring you. I'm literally on the phone with my sergeant major right now.
Oh,
Give me 2 seconds, Sarn.
Yeah, if you need 5 minutes, that's fine. Yep, take your time.
I'll be right back.
Yep. What do you think, Sergeant French? Am I missing anything here?
No, you're doing good. This is one that always stressed me out because I was worried that I was going to forget something.
Trying to think if there was anything else here that was tricky. I think that is it.
I never knew if they were being specific on what they can offer the Army, you know, when you put down their, that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to memorize a couple of those and take them in with me and be like, hey, would you be willing to do this?
Yeah, not part of the rubric this year.
All right, I'm back. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, you're good.
Maps drama.
I got you. Yeah, so we were just talking about the commitment steps. So this is not a graded part of the rubric. So you don't have to memorize all these 400 commitment available commitments, but just ask them, what they can commit and just try to fit some stuff in here. Don't spend too much time on this because again, you only have 30 minutes to input 4 people. And if you remember that recruiting zone at the schoolhouse can be a little slow and cumbersome to use, so don't spend too much time fighting with it. And again, building actions in here can also be kind of tricky too. So don't add it to calendar unless you want to fight through that as well. But yeah, so again, this is a kind of a fun event, but it can be stressful because there are a lot of moving parts. And it is looking for some specific information that the grader is looking for. The email address, phone numbers, and the names all need to be spelled correctly. They do kind of get picky because you are getting the business card that does have the exact phone number and name, email address, a lot of that information. So make sure you review it, go through it when you have time. But inputting 4 names in 30 minutes, it can be cutting it close. So don't review it until after you've input all the names to try to get input there at the right time.
Okay, so you have, all right, I'm sorry. Again, I don't mean to be a
No.
pain, but so the 30 minutes is for you going in, talking to the people, getting the information, coming back and input in the system, everything within 30 minutes.
No, you're gonna have 2 blocks, two 30 minutes.
Okay.
You have 30 minutes to go in there and talk to people. And like Sergeant French said, not everyone is going to be able to provide the information that you're looking for. Not everyone's going to be able to be classified as a COI VIP. So you're going to have to sort through a lot of people. I know when I went through, I think I had to talk to 6 people before I got everyone, or I ended up talking to 6 people just because we ended up having a little extra time too. And then I remember putting the names and ended up taking almost all of the 30 minutes just because the computer systems that we use at the schoolhouse were just that awesome. You're using the RRC networks, they're a little bit slower. You're also building on that training network site, which is also a little bit slower. So make sure you get all the 4 names put in there before you go and kind of spend time reviewing them. Because even if
I'm sorry, and I'm assuming it's like a training platform. It's not a real one.
right, you're using the schoolhouse training site to build in the names. Yep.
Okay, cool.
And if you want to play with that, I can get you a username and password if you want to play on it before you go. It's too easy.
No, it should be pretty self-explanatory. I actually got some VIPs I got to input in my system, so I might as well practice
Oh,
it now.
yep. Get some practice doing it.
So this is just basically attention to detail. It's
It
just
is.
as far as
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah, making sure you're asking all the questions, and just making sure that the names and phone numbers are correct. The graders do get kind of funny on spelling here, because they said that you got the business cards, the names, phone numbers, titles of the people, what their jobs are. If you're not putting in that information correctly, they get funny on spelling.
Okay.
Yep. And you also got to look that business card might have all the pieces of information you need except for one.
Right.
Like it might not have an email address or it might not have a phone number.
So make sure you ask for it, basically. Look at it, ask them if they don't have it.
Probably won't say if they're prior service or not.
True. Unless it's a super hoorah dude.
Yeah.
Has to go
Or
somewhere.
might they might be. Yep. Yeah. So previous years there was a written test that you had to take, but I think everyone was getting 100% on it, so I just got rid of it. But that is all I have on the COI VIP event. Sergeant French, do you have anything else to add? Sergeant Salkers, do you have anything else to add?
No, you did awesome.
So since I got you guys here, can you pull up the rubric again, son, please?
Absolutely.
I want to get this shit. I'm sorry. I want to get this badge. So
Yeah.
I want to make sure I ask all the questions. So, do you mind like just going over like, I mean, I know this is pretty self-explanatory. I mean, it's not kind of crazy. So I mean, it's just getting information. So, I mean, I guess it's nothing crazy. looking at it.
So again, like all the events, you're only going to focus on the next event at hand or the next day at hand. So what I did, and I'm sure Sergeant French did, is you're going to have the entire Master Recruiter Badge handbook printed off, and you're going to focus on studying these rubrics before each event. So you're going to have each rubric printed off. You're going to carry it around with you, and you're going to be studying it before each event to try and memorize it. The night before, you're just going to be studying the next day's events with your study group or however you're going to do it. So before you go into the network-centric recruiting event, you're just going to be memorizing this. First name, last name, COI VIP, organization, title, RSID, phone number, email address, action, result. And you're just going to be going over this again and again until you have it memorized. What I did was I had a binder with the clear page, the page protectors, and I had this actually in it, and I would write over top of it and then erase it, and I would just keep writing it out because that's how I memorize things. I write it out, then I erase it, and then write it again, and that's what you just keep doing it before each event. Just keep memorizing the rubric. And then once you're done with that event, you forget it and you just move on to the next one.
I made like a little binded notebook of all the rubrics, pretty much the whole MOI that they send out. And then as I completed events, I was ripping those pages out and throwing them in the trash because I was done with them.
And also brain dumping. Okay, that's what I got to do. Make space.
Yeah, so
I'm definitely getting a binder done.
like I said, my recommendation is get a binder, print this off, and just keep going over it. And then when you get there on Sunday and you get your schedule, just look at what's going over on Monday and just focus on Monday. Don't even worry about the rest of the week. And then once you have Monday figured out, and then even on Monday, just focus on whatever the first event is, and then start focus on the next event after that. And that's what the recipe for success ends up being. Because you just need to know the rubrics. You know this, you know this stuff. This is stuff you've been doing for the last 6 years. And you just need to know kind of what the rubric is asking, and that's what we're going over now. And you'll remember this stuff.
How do you know I've been doing this for 6 years? That's just mad creepy right now.
I remember everything. You must have said it at some other point.
Yeah, I must have.
Yeah. So it's just memorization. But yeah, just you'll remember all this stuff. You just have to keep going over it, and that's why we're doing this training this week, so that when you are there on Sunday and you say, all right, my first event Monday morning will be the network central recruiting. Bam, I just need to know first name, last name, organization, title, phone number, email address, and what the next action is. And then bam, you're good to go. Like you say, just write that down. When the station commander is talking to you, just write that down. You get that 4 times and you're good to go. You have any other tips for that, Sergeant French? I mean, that's
really how I did it. I'd look at what's the schedule for the next day, and I'd start doing really hard on the first rubric and somewhat hard on the follow-on rubrics. But you guys, I think, have 16 people coming. A lot of the events should only be about 4 people at a time. Some of the events are going to be 1 to 2 people at a time. So you're going to have a little bit of time in between your actual evaluations.
Yeah, so it seems like a lot now, and it's stressful, but you'll be all right if you just kind of focus on one thing at a time. Compartmentalize it. Just take it network-centric recruiting for network-centric recruiting, and then move on to school recruiting program for school recruiting program. So that's my recommendation, and it seemed to work for pretty much everyone. And the only thing that really ends up getting people ends up being the little nuancy stuff. It's not that they forgot how to do the stuff. It's that they messed up on spelling it. They missed a step in the OPAT. They missed, very minute things because they tried moving too quick. It wasn't that they forgot someone's name in the Network Central recruiting. It was that they forgot the spelling of the organization because they didn't look at the business card or something like that. So, yeah, but we'll continue to reiterate those little things that end up getting people knocked out because it ends up being little things and it really sucks. Because it's never anything major that gets people knocked out. For the telephone call, it's because they didn't identify themselves first. It was they kept asking for Timmy as opposed to asking for or identifying themselves first. And they did that 6 times in a row, and the graders get tired of them doing that, right? So that's why we go over these little things a lot. All right, so I think we've beaten Network Central recruiting to death. Let's take a little bit longer break, and we'll come back. So come back at 12 to jump into the next event, which is, got things out of order here. We'll go over developing a plan next. So say 12 o'clock, we'll come back and go over develop a plan. Does that sound good to everybody?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Stop this recording here.